Welcome to Shadow of Rome.
Yes, very underappreciated, underrated game.
Severely. It's actually made, developed by Capcom. Kind of a big deal. Too bad it undersold so severely that it never got a sequel.
Yeah, I think they didn't expect. Well, for one thing, it's a game set in ancient Rome, all about gladiators. I don't think they expected it to even be made, let alone sell well.
We'll talk about their expectations. There's a little bit about that on Wikipedia. But
yeah.
For now, let's reload from the beginning so that we can watch the opening cutscene and get the violence warning, which is very, very well earned.
Oh, this game at the time was pretty infamous.
Yep. They flash the violence warning in half a second as though trying to sneak it past you, but no, this game is ridiculously, unbelievably violent.
Yeah. I mean, not even by mid-2000s standards. I mean, even by modern standards, this game is over the top.
Absolutely. In this cutscene, we're gonna see some of the most fetishistically depicted CGI gore I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the kind of shit God of War wishes it could pull off on a regular basis.
Oh yeah. It's gonna go way, way up from here.
Were exhausted, continually defending her from hostile neighboring states.
A lot of impalements.
For starters.
Yep.
Basically, any horrible thing you can imagine being done to a human body will occur in this game.
Truly. Impalements are practically merciful, because you can only see one part of the gore. Only the exit wound.
The Empire was racked by chaos. It was then that a great man appeared.
Gonna be a lot of that.
The fate of Rome.
Oh yeah. If it can come off of a person, it's going to.
Julius Caesar.
You just imagine this with something like Mortal Kombat 12's engine.
One after another, disturbances were squelched, and discontent alleviated under his competent dominion. With the rule of Julius Caesar, all who inhabited Rome waited hopefully for the coming of the Pax Romana, or peace of Rome.
I mean, how did that work out again? Good?
But it was not to last.
Notoriously peaceful. Apparently, it happened, according to Capcom.
Was once again sucked into the vortex.
Yeah, probably for 5 minutes in real life.
Yep. There's our exit wound.
Yep. You don't often see actual gaping wounds that you can you can just see right the way through in games.
Oh yeah. It was memorable.
Yeah, 100 years of peace. Peace in very heavy quote marks. Depends entirely on who you were and where you were. Also, obvious warning, but this game was very heavily influenced by Gladiator.
Yep. I was gonna say that sooner or later.
Yeah.
Clearly the
This is the main
smash
character.
success.
This is one of the main characters is literally a high-ranking commander forced to be a gladiator.
Yep. May as well be played by Russell Crowe, although obviously they didn't get him.
I mean, same haircut, same build.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Russell Crowe.
Yeah, just better shaved.
Here we go, hard mode, obviously not.
No, this game is very difficult.
Yep. A very, very unforgiving action game.
Yeah.
Probably gonna get wrecked.
Especially once you start getting to some of the speciality fights. There's a couple in particular that took me forever to get.
I vaguely remember some of them.
It's when they start going from straight up brawls to you know, like actual like challenge matches almost,
Yeah.
like games with you know, with like winning and losing conditions. That's when the game starts getting really hard.
Yeah, Capcom was going berserk in the PS2 era.
Oh,
Basically, all their
like,
games were impossible.
but the thing was, like, so many of them were just completely random concepts, and they were a vast majority of them were great.
Oh yeah,
Like Capcom and Konami in the PS2 era, they were just putting out the most bizarre games, and it was amazing.
yep. That's why that's like the best era in pretty much any gaming. The
Yeah.
games. And they were the ones making the best games, so there you go.
Yep.
Alright. I got to press a button, finally.
Hey!
Good sign. Battle Royale. I think we know what that is. Put a guard in here. That seems like a weird gimmick.
What?
And last room, we're not even ready to know.
You just have to go in and eat a gigantic fucking turnip.
That's the worst room of all, then.
No one survives the turnip room.
I do suspect there will be some juicy tomatoes in there.
Oh, more than a few.
I don't think we have to talk to these people to start killing.
They're just like, okay, here's how you pick up weapons, here's how you punch people, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's fair. Good to know. Don't get to have a weapon
are
until
for
we win.
winners.
Yeah, basically. Let's go. For the audience, this is the perfect game to stream on Twitch, apparently.
Oh, it's such a good game. It's half a good game. We'll get to the other half later.
Oh, yeah.
Although I have one request. When we get the onion hair, we never take it off.
Fair enough.
If you don't remember what I mean, you will when you see it.
Is that a, like, Knight of Katarina thing?
Kind of.
Action gamers love onions on their heads.
Yep. So basic combat, hit button, enemy gets hit. You can do various moves. You get, if you entertain the crowd by getting salvos, then they can throw power-ups like extra food, better weapons, that sort of thing. You can also throw weapons at the crowd, which will either make them like you or absolutely fucking despise you.
Oh, yeah.
You can throw body parts into the crowd, which is fun. Give the kids an arm to take home with them.
There's our juicy tomato.
First one of the game, not the last. The idea is essentially you soften up your enemies, get them into a dazed or weakened state, at which point you can do some really horrific shit.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's something like 150 different salvos you can do, something ridiculous like that. I think you need to actually aim in order to throw things into the crowd.
Like this maybe?
I can't remember. I think there is an aim button.
Oh,
there we
this
go.
looks about right. Oh, I threw a sword into the crowd. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
I've gained a reputation as a heel.
Ooh.
They love to hate me. Guard with the L1 button. Really lock on
One
here.
of the main things you'll notice as well is that all weapons in the game have durability. That's primarily to keep you changing your attacks, mixing it up. It's still very annoying, as it always is in these games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hate weapon durability. But you can see why in this game. Like, weapons are everywhere.
Yeah, like this and Dead Rising are probably the only two games where I'd say weapon durability is acceptable.
Yeah. Funny you should mention Dead Rising, also a Capcom game. So, Shadow of Rome here was intended to be a franchise, but it wildly undersold, so it didn't happen. Instead, all the development that had gone into Shadow of Rome 2, which was quite a bit, a full designing phase and concept phase, they were ready to make Shadow of Rome 2. Instead, they made Dead Rising.
I did not actually know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until like half an hour ago.
See, one of the interesting things I'd heard was that some of the folks that worked on Dead Rising came from Breath of Fire 5, which is where Breath of Fire 5 infamously has a leveling system where you can reset your progress to a previous save file or the start of the game and start with new content, all your skills, all that kind of thing. And that was essentially ported over to Dead Rising, except with that, the idea was you would start from the beginning and just keep getting faster and faster through the game.
Hey, oh.
Oh,
Wasn't expecting that.
Excellent. Now we can have some fun. Yeah.
Oh, God. It is getting real Mark of Korean here.
Yep.
How did I not play this game sooner? How about you, fucker?
Disarmed. Walled in. I think it's when you cut off both their arms in one go.
We're supposed to be executing on his behalf. You're in trouble. What was that?
Yep. Sometimes you can kill a guy or hit a guy so hard he actually pisses himself.
Wonderful.
Also, the little blue bar under your salvo meter, whenever that's full, if you hit square and X, you you can cheer to the crowd. And
right.
You can do that every time for like ridiculous amounts of salvos. Salvos are essentially just a high score. But it also, the higher you have any one time, the more chance you've got of getting better weapons from the crowds. Meat, which refills your health. All kinds of goodies. Like, the one thing that is really taken from actual real life gladiator games is the concept of keeping the crowd happy.
Yeah, you do get rewarded for being as showy and popular as possible.
Yep. Be showy, be brutal, be a complete dick.
Yep. Wrath of the Gods. We're playing God of War again.
Yep. Because this is probably going to be mentioned, actually killing gladiators or slaves in gladiator games was considered very bad form.
Oh, yeah. Definitely worth mentioning that as a historical inaccuracy that everyone in a gladiatorial combat arena died.
Yeah, because it's more interesting if it's actual life and death rather than life and possibly lose a finger.
Yeah. I mean, that's the true crime era storytelling.
Yeah,
is
like
highlighting every time someone actually did die.
Yeah, like dudes would get genuinely fucked up, but it was usually only the holiday events or any kind of big celebration that they would consider it okay, quote unquote, to kill a gladiator or a slave in the arena.
Yep.
And even then, it was really considered more as an offering.
I refuse to end my days in this place.
Still very brutal. Not as brutal as history would have you believe.
Yeah. Really, it was closer to MMA than it was, well, Gladiator.
Yep, most certainly. Yeah, let's save.
I think there is a feature that shows you all the various salvos that you can get somewhere in the one of the menus. But I'm gonna look at that later.
Yeah, there's a whole section called Secrets of Rome on the main menu.
Yeah, that's probably it.
You unlock a bunch of shit as you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Classic Capcom style.
Yeah,
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is where we eat our vegetables, right?
Yes. This is where we eat lots of garlic.
Of course.
That was an incredibly torturous pun, and I don't care. Hey, it's the dog.
The Resident Evil 4 dog.
Yep. That dog, seriously, that dog showed up everywhere in the PS2 era.
Yep. Been through all of history.
Like this, Resident Evil 4, Haunting Ground.
They have been here as well.
Centurion Agrippa.
There is no doubt of it.
It is certain that it belonged to a Roman messenger, sir.
So,
Right.
they have been captured.
Not actually all that invested in the plot, but I
They
guess
have
we'll
not
check it out.
fought since they left. We shall separate and look.
This is our intellectual excuse for all the violence in the Coliseum.
It reminds me of John Carmack's infamous line when he was talking about stories in video games. It's like stories in porn. You don't need it, but you kind of expect it to be there just to hang everything together.
That is
This was
disturbingly true.
This is definitely one of those games where they took that 100%.
That said, they did want this to be a franchise, so they were kind of invested in the story, but they couldn't have possibly expected the players to be invested.
Yeah.
There is not much going on here. It's just really generic retelling of the story of the Gladiator movie.
Basically. So next to the weapon bar, we've got a little helmet icon there. You can pick up helmets throughout the game, but like everything, they've got durability. So I've got that showing in case anyone's wondering.
Yeah. Sure. Put your shields in a box.
Why not?
Rather than carry your shields comfortably, keep them in crates. Your encampment.
Where do you keep your shields?
Good point. You keep them in crates that I carry with me at all times. Yes, I'm a
I've got
hypocrite.
3 in my living room alone.
I have a messenger crate, a back crate.
Makes it really difficult to get to the kitchen, but the cats love it.
Yep. Fanny crate, which means something very different where you're from. Yeah, let's launch the attack.
Yeah, the between mission segments are just really there to try and give you some world building, but no one cares. There's nothing really that adds to the game other than just like, yes, this is context for what we're doing here.
Yeah. I mean, they have this fantastic combat system, so they might as well put it in different contexts like this.
Yeah.
Technically, you're increasing the scope of the game without actually doing any extra work, so sure.
In practice, though, it's just, you're in a forest now. Okay, you're in a different arena now.
Yep. Okay, we're keep stabbing that guy. There do appear to be guys who survive multiple ground stabs.
Yeah. If this section, or I think it's like 2 or 3 sections like this, where you're fighting outside the arena, you really just, the idea is just to kill everything and not do it in any kind of showy way.
Yep. Although we can.
All of a sudden a tree shouts, "Use this!"
Yep.
It's the
I love the idea of a family of 4 going to the arena and carrying like 15 halberds with them just in case.
Also, the enemies ambushing our camp brought the plans for their own attack. So, like, we didn't have to invade them. They invaded us with the necessary information.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if this story isn't like actual in-universe Roman propaganda.
It very well could be.
Like, look at these Germans, how dumb they are.
Yep. And we just went from the guy who stabs and crushes absolutely everything he sees to a little man who saved a dog, so he's the good guy.
Yes, we go from Russell Crowe to supporting Twink.
Yep. I mean, he's blonde, so he must be the good guy.
Never was a single blonde Roman who ever did anything bad.
Truly.
Hey, me, Caligula. Who said that?
Also, the entire Roman Empire has been associated with fascism ever since Mussolini invoked it in the 1930s.
That is Agrippa's father. It cannot
To
be.
sanitize his horrifying regime.
Yep.
I did not kill Caesar! I would never do such a thing!
Scapegoating a random guy for the murder of Caesar?
I shall now announce the successor
That's hilarious.
of the hero Julius Caesar.
I mean, cough, cough, JFK.
I mean, yeah, but that random guy was also like a gun nut.
Antonius!
Also, like, sniping a high-value person is very different from, like, stabbing him repeatedly in his highly guarded home.
Oh no, not just stabbing him, but stabbing him with 14 of your besties.
Yep.
Like, let's not forget the assassination of Julius Caesar was a group effort.
Truly. We accuse this one individual of ganging up on Caesar and attacking him from every direction.
It looks like there were 14 swords used. Clearly this guy had a lot of time on his hands. It's like, what is he, the Flash?
Must be. Couldn't be Vipsanius.
Welcome to the other half of the game. You're going to hate
Yeah.
this.
It's not fun to be a good guy. I think that's the takeaway. Shadow of Rome.
Yeah. I understand the idea of needing to mix things up, because having it be wall-to-wall combat would be very repetitive. Especially
Yeah.
since the game's a good, 20-25 hours long or so?
I believe it.
But you could have done it literally any other way.
Yeah. I mean, so far we
Visual
played...
novel segments.
Yeah, we played for 20 minutes and, like, killed so many people. So obviously we had to slam those brakes.
Yeah, just as the game's getting interesting, this.
Yeah. But, like, if they didn't, then in, like, 4 hours' time, the entirety of Rome would be slaughtered by Agrippa.
Just some poor gladiator master being like, we literally had to go out and find new continents for people for him to kill.
Yep.
This is a gaping maw of endless bloodlust.
Half the known world has been killed by this one gladiator.
It's like the year 800. There's not many people.
Why is the Senate in green?
Probably where we need to head next, or you need to ask someone about it.
There we go. Kind of figured that once we talked to everybody, we'd be able to leave, and indeed. There we go, it added Senate to our list of places we can go. So let's go.
You've missed literally nothing.
You have missed nothing, however, like, suddenly we're a different guy. Or Agrippa lost a lot of his muscle mass.
Yes, as stated, we are now the Platonic ideal of a Roman twink.
Yep. Wouldn't be a Capcom game if he didn't suddenly turn into a twink.
PS2 era, they had a quota. But we used to joke that he was, this was like Devil May Cry, the Roman era, and that this guy was Dante before he picked up the sword. But given that they were both Capcom properties that came out roughly the same time, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if there was some crossover.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was going to make the Devil May Cry comparison. Dante's not un-Bishonen.
A child's playground.
At least before he became the world's most badass grandpa.
Please tell me,
Truly.
is Vipsanius the true murderer?
He
of our
developed a square jaw as he got older.
Strange question you ask, boy.
Developed a square jaw and
What is your
then
name?
decided, shaving. Nope, don't need to do that anymore.
I am Octavianus, nephew of Julius Caesar.
Ah, his nephew. Well, I regret to tell you that I witnessed the deed. Vipsanius
I could have done something, but I thought,
blood on his hands. We shall know more tomorrow after the Senate meeting. Go home now.
Surely that's a satisfying response. Clearly this guy investigating the murder we're covering up is just going to walk away.
literally just went, "Get out of here, kid, you bother me."
Yep.
Slay Caesar. I must speak to the Senate. This must be a misunderstanding.
What troubled you, young man?
Who are you?
Have you forgotten old Pansa, good Octavianus?
So we're going to meet old Panza. Never played any of the DMC games. That is honestly one of the most surprising statements I've ever seen.
Thought so. Octavianus is voiced by Scott Menville, who's better known as Robin from Teen Titans.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense.
Be careful.
US equivalent of the audience surrogate twink.
Oh god, you play 2 hours of the worst of the bunch. Honestly, if that put you off the series for life, I would not blame you, nor be remotely surprised. It's not a good game.
Yeah, I mean, DMC2 is worse, but...
DMC2 is worse in different areas for different reasons.
I mean, DMC2 is barely a video game.
Yeah, DMC is just a violently unpleasant one.
It really is.
Yeah, if you enjoyed it, great. Like I said, I just think it's one of the most... Like I said, it's just unpleasant. Almost every character in it is a complete dickhead and a total piece of shit. And I have major problems with the gameplay.
Sniper rifle abortion is all you need to know about the tone of DMC.
Yes! Lest we forget.
So edgy. Edgy as fuck.
Don't forget the Slurm Queen.
Yeah.
Fornicateth thou.
Yep. That part's actually pretty funny, though.
Just, I remember the first time sitting there watching that, just being like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Truly.
I would say if you want a good taste of what the game has to offer, I think it's called Shakespearean DMC. Just go watch that once we're done here.
There was a Let's Play of DMC on Something Awful, and it started with the premise that this is like a really good underrated Devil May Cry game, and it ended with, I hate this fucking game.
Yeah, I had it on the, I think it was the 360 I had it originally. And of course, like most people at the time, really big fan of the original, hated, of the original series, I should say. Hated the direction the new game was going in, but was like, well, as long as the gameplay is okay, I'll be fine with it. The gameplay was not okay. They did not finish it. But they released the enhanced edition on next-gen consoles at the time. Said that they'd fixed the combat, added a lock-on system, which was not in the original for some insane reason, and made it so that you couldn't just get triple S ranks by charging the heavy attack button 3 times. Which was true. The combat still sucks.
Yeah, it was so fundamentally flawed. It was not nearly enough.
Yeah. And it really annoyed me because the visual style of it was amazing.
It had its charm.
Visually, it is such a good game. It's just everything else about it sucks.
Yeah.
Also, this is on emulator.
This is on emulator, yeah. There are some PS2 games that run with progressive scan, and they will also be at 60 FPS like this. But this game does not feature the option for progressive scan. This is significantly better than you could conceivably get on console.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was going to do a Let's Play of DMC, the reboot. And, you know how the achievements are quotes from actual Devil May Cry games?
Yeah, that's right.
I was going to splice in the voice clips every time we got an achievement.
Then you realize that was putting in way too much effort for this game.
Basically, but also I put in way too much effort for all the shit I do. This guy didn't even get to swing his axe. Fresh axe. Hell yeah. And I will say, in defense of DMC, I liked it until, like, the halfway point.
I liked Dante's interactions with Cat, because those are the only times he's actually likable.
Yeah, the moment Cat gets kidnapped is when the game takes a nosedive and never recovers.
Yeah.
Because it leads you to the fetus boss fight, and that is the worst boss fight I've ever played.
Although the totally not Glenn Beck boss fight is probably the best fight in the game.
Yep. It is before that point.
Yeah. Again, just visually and conceptually, it is genuinely fantastic, and it makes you wonder what it's doing in a game like that.
Yeah. It's not difficult, though. It's, like, entirely a gimmick fight. So it doesn't really challenge you in any way.
I'd say it's a gimmick fight done right, because it's not difficult, but it is very interesting. You know, like the entire time you're like, right, I know what I need to do, but actually pulling it off is kind of difficult.
Yep.
So, fun thing with healing. In order to heal, in order to get the maximum amount of healing from the meat, you have to hammer the button you pick it up with.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, faster, like, there with the square button. The quicker you hammer the square button, the quicker your health, and the more health as well that you get.
Yeah.
I don't think it's mentioned in the manual or anything. Just an interesting little thing.
Yeah, I'll play with that, see if I can figure that out. Seems pretty important to know, given how difficult this game is.
Oh, yeah.
I got a rock.
Hey, Linus.
See, picking anything up is the circle button, and that's messing with me. As you attack with square and X. I don't ever want to be pressing that circle button, but they make me.
Yeah, like, to my mind, it should be, like, left hand is square, right hand is circle, picking up is X, because that's what it should be in everything.
Yeah. And then I threw my sword through a rock. So that's gone. Might need it to break that log. Okay.
Quickly, punch him with your bow. So that works, right?
Sorta. If you didn't have a shield, it would work. Where are my
right,
subordinates?
If I remember right, you can grab enemies, and if they're armed, then you get into a struggle with them to pull their weapons from them.
Yeah, it looks like there must be a way to do that.
I'm sure there is. I can always go grab the manual if you want.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. I'm sure there's a lot of like complicated controls that I'm missing so far.
Yeah. Back in a sec.
Because I don't think I have a way to survive this because I threw my sword away. And I am ridiculously outnumbered. Why did my subordinates leave? This is the worst place to lose my sword. Literally anywhere else I could have grabbed a new one. Oh well. Yeah, this game has the DNA of Dead Rising and Onimusha. It is built on the Onimusha 3 engine. And, hey, a mace. And a German helmet. So it's made by the same people who made Onimusha, in the same engine. It feels very Onimusha-esque. It's the missing link between Onimusha, Dead Rising. Feel free to actually hit somebody here, Agrippa.
Okay, so if you're having trouble hitting things, lock on is R1.
Yeah, I got that. I keep forgetting it, but I got it right now. It seems like direction plus X while locked on makes you roll? Maybe?
While weaponless, hit X directly in front of an enemy to initiate a struggle for the weapon. Once you're doing that, mash X and square.
I got it.
Yay.
While you were saying it. It is ridiculous that I survived that.
Also, while weaponless, press X the instant before an enemy strikes to snatch the weapon from their hand. Could never do that.
We're gonna have to try. At some point.
While holding an enemy from behind, press X and square to suplex them. And if they're on the floor, press square to pull them back to their feet, where you can brutalize them more.
Perfect. Yeah, these ground impales are surprisingly useless. What was it, X and square to pick them back up?
Just square.
Okay, just square.
Yeah.
Try that sometime.
Yeah, that's if they're just knocked down, not if they're actually dead.
Yeah. Would be funny if you could pick them up while they were dead.
Weekend at Bernie's through the German camp.
Yep. Just keep slashing them. This guy's got no arms.
Give him a hand.
I took his hand, actually, I think.
Yes, that's right. Any, like, if you hack off someone's arm, you can use it as a weapon. There's a whole bunch of salvos you can get for that.
I wish we could treat it like a block of meat.
No.
I want play.
You've unlocked Wendigo mode.
Zombie Agrippa, please.
Oh, fuck, I forgot there was chariot racing in this.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, I remember the chariot racing in this being terrible.
Quite possibly. I mean, you'd think if this was a precursor to Dead Rising, the vehicles would be decent. Because Dead Rising has pretty good vehicles.
Yeah, the driving in the first one wasn't bad. Second one, the motorbikes took a bit of getting used to because they had no turning circle whatsoever.
Yeah, I never played them, but it seemed like they worked pretty well, those vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, one of the achievements in the first one was the zombie genocider, where you had to kill like 58,000 zombies.
Yeah.
Because the town that it's set in, you see the, welcome to Willamette sign at the beginning, and the population's like 57,000 something. So you are literally killing the entire population of the town.
Yep.
And the easiest way to do that was to get a car, go into the tunnels underneath the mall, and just drive for like 3 straight in-game days. Tedious as hell, but certainly doable.
Yeah. In Grand Theft Auto, Vice City specifically, the game manual also says that the population of Vice City is like 127,000. And if you play that game to 100% completion, you will kill more than 127,000 people.
Never actually finished any of the GTA games. I was getting bored before the end.
Yeah, can't really blame you. I would 100%ed Vice City. Because back in the day, I would buy like one game a year and 100% it.
Yep, that sounds a bit right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've said before, but that was why I started getting into RPGs. Because that was easily like 80 hours worth of gameplay for minimal outlay.
This guy's got meat.
Yeah, one thing you need to be careful of as well is that enemies can pick up meat as well. And if they pick it up, they can eat it.
Damn it. You're getting shot while I'm eating my meat.
Agrippa cannot enjoy his ham.
So rude. The soldiers gonna put up with it much longer. I'll just run past this area because they put up snipers and I don't want to deal with it. Looks like we could block barehanded. It's necessary.
Yeah, if I remember right, it takes off a ton of durability off your weapon if it's not a shield.
Would explain why my weapon just almost broke.
Yeah.
And there goes your arm. My test of good dismemberment is, does the enemy keep attacking and change their behavior if they lose a limb? Doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like when they lose a limb, they just die.
Not always, because you can sever their limbs, but you can also break their limbs if you remember.
Ah.
If you're using a bladed weapon, then you just hack it straight off. But if it's a blunt weapon, then you still have a chance to sever it somehow. But generally, you'll break them. At which point, they just kind of limp towards you with their arms dangling at their sides and still try and headbutt you.
So that passes my test. Barely. Other key.
At least it's not a rusted one.
Yep. And a gladius. Better than what we had. This is an impossible step. We cannot step that height.
Damn you, thigh high risings.
Yep. Agrippa's leg literally cannot be lifted. above his hip. He's too muscle bound.
Centurion, I am sorry. So sorry. I
Gripping a god of thickness.
Yep. The clapping would be so thunderous, he cannot risk it.
Comparable to Zeus's thunderbolts.
Yep.
Did you say that somebody has assassinated Caesar?
It's a
No, I
secret
said I
weapon.
could kill for some salads.
Yep.
I only know that he was assassinated at the Senate House. I have heard nothing else.
That is absurd. Cannot be possible. I see.
I find that this is also set like I think it's like 30 BC. So it's entirely possible that this is like 5 months later and he's only just finding out.
Now I understand.
I mean, yeah, news travels very slowly.
Make them talk.
If he's been out campaigning and pillaging for 5 months.
The
Yeah.
time for the Germanic tribes has come. You will all bow to me. Silence!
What's this guy in Devil May and God of War 2?
Crush mighty Rome.
Quite possibly. Look at that. This is how you can tell The Matrix came out a few years ago.
Oh sure, you can jump 30 foot to avoid an axe, but you can't climb up a slightly higher than average chunk of land.
Yep.
So this fight also teaches you something important in that you can get enemies to hit other enemies.
Interesting.
You will do that a lot in the arenas.
Careful. Away from my meat.
I don't think bosses will chow down.
Probably not, but I want the meat without getting smashed with a big axe. Okay. Didn't hit the meat. Did get smashed, so... Worst of both worlds.
Don't forget to use the code Agrippina wants the meat, 30% off your next purchase.
Oh man. Just going for my shield,
Knocking the
man.
meat straight at you, straight out you now.
He really did. Stab him right in the groin. He's so tall.
Agrippina, Agrippa, master of the dick stab.
A few times he's caught me mid-animation, which is rude. I cannot interrupt my animations, Devil May Cry style.
I don't know if it's true or not. It seemed to be the case for me. But the lower on health either you or the enemies are, the easier it is to interrupt attacks. I
Interesting.
don't know. Again, I don't know if that's completely true, but it always seemed to be the case for me.
There we go. Interrupts my attacks, no problem. Oh, I broke his axe. Look at that tiny little thing he's got now. Toothpick.
Went from overcompensating to barely compensating.
Yep. See how far back this is. This should just be like when we open the gate, but... Yeah, okay, good. Good checkpoint. I approve. Thank you for stunning the guy for me. He doesn't quite have a turnaround attack.
Oh,
He does
that
have
will
some-
come later.
Yeah, he has some surprisingly fast attacks. There's the one.
Yeah, some of the boss fights later in the game I remember being pretty brutal.
Yeah. It seems like
Never fit.
the direction we're holding when we hit attack will also affect the type of attack we do.
Yeah.
God, that attack is fast. There. Distracted for a while.
This guy just fucking gets yeeted in from off screen.
Doing the charge seems to almost always knock him back.
I think there's a, or at least there used to be a guide on GameFAQs that broke down absolutely everything to do with like what attacks are best against certain enemies or with certain weapons and all that. The game is remarkably in depth for what's otherwise a brainless hack and slash.
Yeah, the combat system is like really, really, really clever and well designed. There's a lot to it. We're probably just going to scratch the surface throughout this playthrough. Oh, we broke or stole all the weapons, but no. Got another one.
Yeah, I think they spawn off screen.
Yeah, seems like
so
it.
That you're never resorting to just beating them with your fists.
Challenge run, no weapons for the entirety of Shadow of Rome.
Oh god, that would take hours.
Yeah. Finish him. Yeah, that guy was slow as molasses. Fitting for the first boss fight of the game.
So, now that we've carved you up like a turducken, do you wish to surrender?
What are you waiting for? Kill me! I would sooner die than become a slave of Rome.
Am I the bad guy?
Centurion!
Take him away.
Send him to the slave pits, just as he asked.
Yep.
It's like there's these two normal-sized guys carrying away a literal mountain of a man.
Yep. And we are definitely the bad guy. We just sold the guy into slavery.
Caesar is dead. He has been assassinated.
What?
Did he do it?
Hurry. We must.
Why did you do that with your sword?
It looked like he was trying to do a flourish, but it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. It was like shadow knighting the guy he was talking to.
Trying to do a fancy swooshy thing, and just the sword was like, nope.
Yep. That's also not a thing you do like mid-conversation. That's the thing you do as a taunt.
Yeah. It's like, hey, could you pass the salt? Yeah, there you go. What? Why did you do that? Put salt all over the place. What's wrong with you, man? Like, just leave the pepper right where the fuck it is.